Hello everyone, and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. According to The Bold and the Beautiful, BNB, spoilers, cryptic texts will concern Katie Logan, Heather Tom, and Electra Forrester, Linnea Grace, resulting in a dramatic revelation. The trouble will begin during the week of November 24th to 28th, when some strange communications arrive. BNB fans will notice Electra and Katie deliberating over some cryptic texts. Katie and Electra may be concerned about the situation because they will not know who is behind them. Although Deputy Chief Bradley Baker, Dan Martin, insisted Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada, was dead and gone, it's understandable that everyone was still on edge. Luna has already returned from the grave, so bear that in mind. However, it appears that someone else will be responsible for these cryptic texts. Dylan, Sydney Bullock, or Ms. Dylan as her art students used to call her, is likely to be the person responsible for these messages. BNB's Look Forward promo film depicts Dylan appearing in the design office and confessing to Electra. Dylan will feel bad over something, so she will sit down with Electra and tell her the truth. It's likely Dylan was driving the car that hit Luna or something similar, but why would she feel the need to confess to Electra specifically? This confession appears to involve Electra herself. Perhaps this relates to Electra's previous deepfake terror. Did Dylan become Remy Price's Christian Weissman pawn and get involved in all of this? Dylan may have simply fallen for the trap and posted some unpleasant comments online. Dylan may regret misjudging Electra now that the truth about Remy's actions is known. Dylan may have a solid cause to confess now if she's joining Forrester's PR team or even replacing Katie Logan, Heather Tom, who will discover she's being demoted in the coming episodes. Dylan may also feel bad about this, which explains why Katie and Electra are involved in this scenario. Dylan previously taught art to Hayes Finnegan, Brian David Garlick, and his friends, but she may be ready to take on a corporate challenge, especially given Dylan appears to be dressed for success in the promotional video we highlighted. Whatever the case, The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers suggest Dylan will reveal some startling news during the week of November 24th to 28th, so stay tuned for more information. Will and Electra shower and relax on loungers at the beach home after returning from the beach. Luna's infatuation has left an indelible mark on the internet. Will can't stop thinking about how severely she ruined their life. At the Forrester mansion, Brooke, Ridge, Eric, Donna, and Carter discuss the press's feeding frenzy over Luna. No one is sad about Luna's death. Brooke instructed Will and Electra to take some time off. Ridge acknowledges Finn's emotional distress, as she is his daughter. He's relieved she's gone so Steffi doesn't have to constantly glance over her shoulder. They reflect on the awful death of the infant and Luna's numerous transgressions. Donna is relieved Katie can now focus on her family and supporting Will. As additional headlines emerge, the Forresters become increasingly alarmed. Carter points out that Luna was a member of the company. The PR staff is generally in charge of this, but because Katie is on vacation, he enlisted help. Bill and Katie are still thinking about the Luna incident and complaining about the crazed woman's web coverage. They discuss how insane she was and how she turned their son's life upside down. Katie declares that she received all she deserved. Bill fields queries on the phone, and then they go over him, allowing Luna to wreak damage. Katie pushes him to let it go. Bill returns to his role as the Spencer family's leader after realizing she was correct. Katie and Bill phone Will, who says he's with Electra. Katie is delighted they're spending time together, but she recommends he talk to Taylor. Will declines despite having a lot of support. Brooke, Ridge, Eric, and Donna meet Robin, Forrester's new public relations representative. She assures them that her team is the best in Los Angeles for crisis management. They'll change the narrative and refocus it on fashion. At the beach home, Will goes over all of Luna's offenses again. Electra claims she hurt several individuals, including Will. She describes how Luna took advantage of him, and she's relieved he's okay. Ridge approves off on hiring the new PR team, and Katie appears. They all ask about Will, and Katie thanks them before announcing that she is there to help with damage management. Brooke responds, "We're on it." Katie is disappointed to learn that Ridge has engaged an outside public relations firm to handle the situation. They explain that they intended to reduce her workload so she could spend more time with her family. Katie wishes to speak with her sisters alone, so Eric, Ridge, and Carter leave. Donna and Brooke express interest in Katie's well-being. Katie tells them that the stress has been overwhelming, but she has had to remain strong for her kid. She is thankful for the Logan sisters. They embrace. Inside the beach home, Will paces with his phone and apologizes for being unable to keep his mind off of the Luna situation. Electra mentions that the reports still state that the driver is anonymous. Will can't picture driving along and having someone jump in front of him. At this exact moment, Electra receives a message from someone claiming to be the person who ran over Luna. Why would they message her? Someone in an anonymous place glances at their phone screen, which shows a text message to Electra that reads, "I'm the one that ran over Luna." Katie first spotted the message while cleaning coffee grinds from the French press, with the kitchen window fogged by morning steam. Her phone vibrated once, with no notification tone or flash. A quiet tremble on the counter. She dried her hands on a towel and looked over, expecting a news alert or one of Electra's customary, running late again notifications. However, the lock screen preview simply featured 2 words she could not recognize: "Find roads." She scowled. There is no contact name or number. Just the message, sitting there as a dare. She tapped it, but as soon as her thumb contacted the glass, the letters vanished, leaving a blank message history. No sender, no thread. It was a glitch, she told herself. Phones do this occasionally. Ghost notifications and disappearing texts. However, the moment she put the phone down, a frantic pulse raced through her chest. Roads. The word jogged her memory, but did not stick. By the time Electra came, slamming the door, dumping her luggage, and groaning like someone who had only slept for 4 hours, Katie had nearly convinced herself to ignore it. "Morning," Electra murmured. Her painted silver hair sprang up on one side like crooked antennae. "Barely," Katie said. "Did your alarm go off again?" "The alarm works. My brain does not." Katie smirked as she poured coffee into her mug. Electra curled both hands around it, inhaling as if caffeine alone could revive her. Katie's phone vibrated again. This time, Electra noticed. "Is that from work?" Katie gulped. "I'm not sure." She unlocks the phone. Another message with no number and only 2 words. "Ask Electra." She blinked at her. "Ask me what?" "That's what I want to know," Katie said, tilting the device toward her. Electra moved forward, her gaze narrowed at the foreign message bubble. "What the hell?" she whispered. "It doesn't even show a contact." "I know. Did you join up for another strange app? Like the dream interpretation AI that transformed your sleep pattern into a horror film?" "No. I removed all of that. And this doesn't even appear like an app." Electra placed her mug with extraordinary care. "Try replying." Katie inquired. "There's no number. Just type something." Perhaps it's one of those encrypted relay devices. Maybe someone sent it anonymously. Katie typed, "Who is this?" She pressed send. The message stalled for 3 seconds before deleting, and the chat log returned to blank. Electra let out a faint whistle. "Okay, that's weird even for you. You attract unusual technological phenomena. Remember when your weather app forecast an eclipse that did not occur? That occurred once. And your GPS kept sending you back to the same cul-de-sac even though we were in a different city?" "Okay," Katie sighed. "But this is different." They remained silent. The flat appeared to follow suit, with the early morning flutter of commuters outside reducing to a faint hum. Katie's phone remained still for several minutes, and she let her thoughts to drift to commonplace topics such as emails to send, errands to run, and the grocery list. The phone buzzed again. Hard. 3 times in quick succession. Electra almost spilled her coffee. Okay, that one sounded urgent. Katie picked it up, apprehension rising into her body. 3 new messages were waiting in the vacant thread. "Time is gone. Memory is a maze. Find roads before he finds you." Electra sprang up. Nope. Nope. We're not doing curse messenger crap before breakfast. Katie tried to smile, but her lips were tight. Maybe they're pranking us, Electra said, shaking her head. No one knows a Rhodes. Who is he? Katie did not respond. She felt a pressure in the back of her head, like a name she should have remembered but couldn't. It was almost as if the term Rhodes belonged to her past, not a person, but a notion. She read the messages again. Before he discovers you. Let's screenshot this, Electra suggested. I want to reverse search the formatting and see if it matches anything online. Katie tapped the power and volume buttons. The phone clicked. The screenshot vanished. The gallery remained empty. They spent the next hour testing everything, searching the app list for new programs, running malware scans, checking carrier settings, and even factory resetting the network connections. Nothing changed and no new texts came in. Electra, determined not to let technology beat her, unlocked her laptop.
Fine.
If it won't tell us anything digitally, we switch to analog. What comes to mind when you hear the word Rhodes? A place? A person? A book?
Rhodes.
Rhodes. Katie repeated. The word nagged her. It sounds ancient. Greek island. Electra typed quickly. Or the Colossus of Rhodes. That's not helpful. Electra snapped her tongue. Could be a last name. Could be anything. But Katie could see it wasn't anything. It was specific. Something connected to her. She reached for her recollection, which was flickering and uncertain. She had always felt that her childhood was missing pieces, little gaps she attributed to time, stress, or her mind's tendency to file away anything that didn't seem urgent. But suddenly the holes felt intentional, like erased chalk on a chalkboard. Around noon, frustrated and restless, she decided to go for a stroll. Electra insisted on coming. They stepped out into the street. The sky was gloomy, a washed-out gray that made everything seem familiar. They walked in silence at first, navigating familiar blocks until their feet moved without conscious control. Katie turned right, left, and right again, as if drawn. Where are we even going? Electra inquired. I don't know. Her body continued to move, as if it remembered something she didn't. They arrived at the ancient quarter, which was peaceful, with brick houses and small streets smelling strongly of dust and lost stories. Katie slowed, her heart beating irregularly. She didn't recognize any of it. However, it felt incorrect to describe it as unfamiliar. Electra studied her. Katie pushed her fingers to her skull. You look like you're about to remember something. I do not know. It's like waking up from a dream and not knowing if it was yours or someone else's. That's not a typical description, Electra mumbled. But Katie had stopped listening. Her gaze had fixed on a structure across the street, an ancient library that was boarded up and slated for reconstruction. The sign by the door read Rhodes Municipal Archive, and her breath vanished. Electra followed her stare.
Oh.
Katie felt both comfort and anxiety. This wasn't here. What exactly do you mean? It's been here forever. Katie took a step closer. No, it has not. I've walked this path many of times. This building wasn't here. Electra gave her a doubtful expression. Katie, perhaps you did not notice it? I would notice this. She approached the door. Boards covered the entrance, fastened hastily but purposefully. As she reached out, her phone chimed again. A new message. Only one. Do not open it. Electra grabbed for the phone to see for herself, but Katie yanked it away. Something icy slipped down her spine. Someone's watching us. Or tracking your phone, Electra responded. Are there any cameras around? There are cameras everywhere, Katie answered hollowly. Electra cupped her chin. Katie, listen. I suspect we're being played. Some hacker or stalker. No, Katie replied sharply. This is connected to what? Katie did not know, but she knew the messages were not random. They tracked her thoughts, steps, and discoveries. Something made her want to go here. Something else urged her to remain away. She pushed the board. It did not move. Electra grabbed her wrists. Please don't. Katie turned. If I don't, we'll never know. Sometimes not knowing keeps you alive. Katie yanked her hand away. She slid her fingers underneath a loose board and pulled. It creaked, resisted, and then snapped. The sound boomed down the deserted street. Electra cursed beneath her breath. After several minutes of battle, they managed to create a gap large enough to slide through. Inside, dust hovered in the air like time had stopped. The floor was covered in shredded paper, collapsed filing cabinets, and broken lamps. It appeared less abandoned and more ransacked. Katie swallowed to relieve the dryness in her throat. Why would somebody trash an archive? Electra shielded her nose. Why would someone send you a weird text? We're certainly not dealing with rationality. Katie went deeper. Something in the room drew her attention, not physically or loudly, but like a magnet pulling at iron filings. She discovered a door at the far end. Its label, albeit partially scraped off, still read restricted. Electra mumbled, "Of course, it's restricted." Katie groped for the knob. It turned. Inside was a small compartment with one flickering ceiling bulb. A big folder sat clean on a central metal table, in stark contrast to the mayhem beyond. Katie approached it cautiously, as one might approach a sleeping animal. A name was stamped in red writing on the folder. Rhodes, Katie E. Her heart pounded in her ears. Electra's breath tightened. Katie trembled as she opened the folder, revealing her middle initial, E. Inside were documents, scans of signatures, medical reports, transcripts of interviews she didn't recall having, and images of herself as a youngster standing in places she didn't recall visiting. Notes were written in codes that mirrored neither government nor business formats. A page labeled Memory Restructure Protocol, another with the sentence subject retains abnormal recollection patterns. Electra read over her shoulder. What the hell is this? Is this real? These are your photos. Katie felt nauseous. I have never seen these. I don't remember any of this. But this folder recognizes you. It understands stuff. Katie, this isn't normal. There was a handwritten statement on the last page. If she starts to recall, make contact. The Rhodes failsafe should not activate. Electra stepped back. Failsafe. Katie's phone buzzed again, interrupting her response. 2 new messages have arrived. Leave right now. He's on his way. Electra grabbed Katie's arm. We need to leave. Whatever this is, I don't want to meet the he in that statement. Katie slipped the folder beneath her jacket because instinct told her she needed it. They dashed back down the main hallway, stepping over broken files and debris. Just as they squeezed through the opening in the boards, a shadow moved at the street corner. A man. Despite the humid environment, he maintained a tall, rigid posture and wore a black coat. He moved toward them with the confidence of someone on a fixed course. Electra screamed, "Don't make eye contact." Katie lowered her head, her heart hammering. However, as they passed him, the man came to a halt, turned, and continued, in an overly calm tone, "Katie Rhodes." Katie froze. Electra anxiously grabbed at her sleeve, whispering, keep walking, but the man approached. Katie backed up. You weren't supposed to come back. Who are you? You know who I am. I don't, she replied, her voice shaking. I don't remember you. A spark of annoyance? Disappointment? Passed over his face. They told me your memory reconstruction had stabilized. Electra took a step in front of Katie. The man ignored her and said, back off. You triggered the failsafe. Katie shook her head. The archive was sealed for a reason. Explain. What have they done to me? The man exhaled slowly, as if burdened with a task he no longer desired. You were a member of a program, an attempt with adaptive memory architecture. You were supposed to forget. Measures were taken when fragments attempted to resurface. Electra spit. Do you like sending weird, cryptic texts? His expression became sharper. Texts? Katie's phone buzzed. She looked down. Run. Electra noticed it as well. Okay, yes, we are running. They bolted. The man shouted after them, but his feet were unusually slow, measured rather than urgent. As if he didn't have to pursue them. When they got to the busier streets, they ducked into a cafe, exhausted and shaken. They collapsed in a booth near the back. Electra gripped Katie's shoulders. Okay, start talking. What do you remember? Nothing, Katie replied. But that wasn't entirely true. Images flashed through her mind. White rooms, wires, voices speaking instructions she didn't understand, and a man watching behind glass. Not the man they'd seen today, someone older and sharper-eyed. Her cell phone vibrated once. Katie lifted it with fear. Another message. Not him. Electra blinks. Not him who? Katie stared at the television. I think there are two sides sending messages. And one wants to help or manipulate. The following message appeared immediately, as if in response. The truth is in the missing year, Electra said, her eyes widening. Missing year? Katie, have you ever lost time? Katie's stomach twisted. She had. A whole fuzzy year between 19 and 20 when she always claimed she'd been figuring herself out, though the truth was she couldn't recollect details, not places, not people, not events. It was just a gray haze with occasional flashes of emotion that she couldn't identify. She'd always assumed trauma. Stress. Burnout. Never this. We need to find out what happened to you, Electra stated forcefully. Really find out. Katie glanced at her friend, her rock, her reality check, the person who always helped her get her life back on track. Electra's determination gave her power she didn't realize she still possessed. Okay, Katie answered gently. We find roads. Electra nodded. But not alone. And not without preparation. Katie closed her eyes and braced herself. What if Rhodes is me? Electra did not hesitate. Then we'll find you, Katie said, her breathing shaky. Her phone vibrated again. One final message arrived, unsettling in its certainty. When you find Rhodes, you will remember everything. Katie glanced at the screen, then at the city beyond the cafe window, suddenly alien, sharp-edged, and loaded with possibilities and dangers she couldn't define. Electra squeezed her hand. Then we'll start today. Katie nodded for the first time, despite the fear in her chest, because she had a strong, indisputable sense that the truth was not hiding from her. It was waiting, and it was coming quickly.